Very good morning, friends. I hope you're all safe and healthy. So, as you know, that I had started the series on Did You Know? And continuing with that, I am coming to another area in the same Index 33, which talks about earning per share. One particular concept which, a lot of people have apprehensions about, rather, I would say they've got misconception, and that is that can a reported diluted earning per share be greater as compared to basic earning per share? When you ask the people this question, they say a diluted EPS can be greater, but then that's not reported. Well, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there is a reported diluted earning per share, and that is more than the basic earning per share. So, how is that possible? Well, impossible says I'm possible. So, let me prove that to you. सी फाइनल की जो बच्चे अपने मई 21 या जून 21 के लिए अटेम्प्ट की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, आप कैसे अपने एग्जामिनेशंस को प्लान कर सकते हैं, इस पर एक वेबिनार आपके लिए अनअकैडमी पर आ रहा है, जिस पर इंडिया के टॉप एजुकेटर्स आपके साथ जुड़ेंगे 23 मार्च को शाम को 5 बजे। 23 मार्च 5 PM। कैसे आप प्लान कर सकते हैं अपने सीए फाइनल एग्जामिनेशन फॉर मई जून 21 अटेम्प्ट। तो आइए लेट्स क्रैक इट। Well, let's take an example to prove the point that when can a reported diluted earning per share exceed the basic earning per share? Let's take an example to prove the point. Now, imagine that there is a company which has got a net loss. I know you'll start thinking, loss, we thought as much. Okay, so let's say the company has got a net loss, let us say to the extent of, let's say 40 lakhs. And I'm also given a segregation in terms of the profit from a continuing operation and a loss from a discontinued operation. So we've got a total loss of 40 lakh. And we given that the profit from the continuing operations is, let's say, to the extent of 20 lakhs. And there is a loss from discontinued operations, and that is 60. So that makes it a net loss of 40 lakh. And let's say the company has got a weighted average number of equity shares, and that's say, let's to the extent of, let's say, 4 lakh. So can I say if I were to calculate a basic earning per share, then I would simply divide my total net loss, which is 40 lakhs, divided by 4. So that works out at a -10. But I'm not computing a basic EPS, separately from a CO or a DO. I'm just taking a basic EPS based on a total operation, just for understanding. Now, let's consider that the company has got some potential ordinary shares, and let's consider those potential ordinary shares are in terms of, let's say, options. And let's say in this particular case, the impact on the numerator, if the potential ordinary share is supposed to be a ESOP, then the impact on the numerator is nil. But let's say the impact on the denominator is that it would increase, let's say, by 1 lakh shares. So post conversion, the weighted average number of equity share, let's say, increases to the extent of 1 lakh. Now, the most important thing is that there are two aspects in terms of diluted EPS. One is that when you calculate a diluted EPS, one is called assessment. You need to make an assessment whether the given potential ordinary shares are dilutive or not. The second is the computation aspect, which means you actually calculate a diluted earning per share. So in this particular case, let me do one thing. Let me first of all make an assessment. Mind it, I'm making an assessment to identify whether the potential ordinary shares are dilutive or not. Now, when you make an assessment, remember the golden rule that you consider the profit or loss only from CO, not from the total operations. So the assessment is based on the fact that naturally the discontinued operations would close, and therefore in the future you're going to get profits only from the CO. So in my example, if you look at the profits from the CO, it is 20 lakh. So what do you need to do? You need to calculate the earning per share pre-conversion which is based on the profits of 20 lakhs, and the number of shares weighted average is 4 lakh. So you get an earning per share which is 5. And then you're going to calculate the earning per share post conversion. The adjusted numerator is 20 and the adjusted denominator is 5. So you get a earning per share post conversion is 4. There is a decrease in terms of the earning per share, which means these potential ordinary shares are dilutive in nature. Now, once you say that yes, they are dilutive in nature, now it is time to calculate the dilutive earning per share. Now, when you're going to make a computation, in terms of diluted earning per share, remember the computation is going to be based on the total operations. That means I'll consider both the CO as well as the DO. Well, ideally speaking, of course, I would be, making calculations on the diluted EPS based on a CO separately, DO separately, and a total, but I'm just calculating a diluted EPS based on total operations. Now, if you consider the total operations, then in that particular case, you can say it is a total of 40 lakhs of loss. The adjusted numerator is 40 lakhs of loss and the adjusted denominator is 5 lakh. So we get a earning per share, a diluted earning per share is supposed to be -8. Now, if you look at the basic earning per share, that's supposed to be -10. And if you look at the diluted earning per share, it's -8. -8 is greater compared to -10. So in this particular case, the potential ordinary shares are dilutive in nature and you land up reporting the diluted earning per share, which is -8. Hence, the reported diluted earning per share is greater as compared to the basic earning per share. I know what you're thinking now. You would say, so that means this is possible only in a situation where you've got a segregation of CRDO. That's right. And you would say that in this particular case, you should have a profit from a CO and a loss from a DO. And overall, there should be a loss. That's right. But in any case, we have proved the exception that your reported diluted earning per share can be greater as compared to the basic earning per share. Isn't that interesting and fun? Thank you.